Welcome to the Late Night with Chalky podcast.
Friends and family, brothers and sisters, welcome to the Late Night with Chalky podcast.
Our guest this week is a ripper from Florida who just made a name for himself with his high energy, good looks, work ethic, and surfing ability. Combining those attributes will get you noticed by sponsors, by fans, or by the casting director of The Ultimate Surfer. Part of that reality show. He loved that show.
Oh man, what an
For the girls.
Yeah.
Yeah, he puts in hard work. He's got good vibes, great attitude, and is an incredible surf coach at ABC Surf Mentorship.
Yep.
Yeah, and he's a sales rep for Algorithm Surfboards.
Yes, sir.
Woo-hoo-hoo.
Yeah.
He just competed for his home team, Jacksonville Board Riders Club, at the U.S. Championships. At lowers, going arf.
Off its face.
Off its face. We're stoked to sit down with Mr. Austin Clouse. Clouse. Woo!
Stoked boys.
Right on, bro. That was your nickname. You just go last name. A lot of people
A
go
lot of people call
Larson.
me Clouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't introduce myself as Clouse. I always introduce
But
myself
that's
as
your nickname?
Austin.
Yeah.
But like everybody my whole life is Clouse.
Everyone that has a nickname, or not has a nickname, but their last name or their initials
Yeah.
are nicknames.
Yeah.
Right?
Easy. Guaranteed.
Yeah.
Even
Lars,
no matter what
Lar,
it
but
is.
it's short for Larson.
Yeah.
Late
Lar.
Night is stage name.
Yeah.
And I think a good nickname too is like you don't come up with it. Like people just
Somebody
call
gives
it
it
to
to
you.
you.
Yeah. Like I
Yeah.
hated people calling me
You
Clouse.
can't create your own nickname. It's got to
Yeah.
be coined by somebody. And they change over years based on
Yeah,
circle of
like,
friends and
how you
when you're a
grow.
kid.
Yeah.
I have a
Adult.
lot of nicknames.
You?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Dirt Claw,
Heard you said it.
Lick,
Lick.
I don't know, a lot of them.
Yeah.
But this show's not about us, Lar.
No, it's not. About this guy over here.
Okay, let's, we met maybe, 2 years ago?
Yeah. A couple
At
years
Surf
ago.
Expo.
Surf Expo. Yeah.
And I forget how we met, but we started talking.
We were just talking.
Yeah,
Like surf
vibing.
expo stuff, just hanging
Yeah.
out. Yeah, hanging out.
And then I think Ben Gravy had just started working with you guys or something like that.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly what, but then we kind of hit it off and, you told me you were on Ultimate Surfer. I'm like, holy shit, this is going to be fun to talk about. This is going to be
And I
fun to
haven't
talk
really
to.
like talked about it on, like I've talked about it with, friends and
Yeah.
people through the past couple of years, but never anything like this.
Yeah.
Which is cool because like,
We're going to get to that though.
Yeah.
Let's start at the very beginning. And where did Clouse find surfing?
All right. Well, I'm from a little tiny town in between Flagler Beach and Daytona Beach. It's called Ormond by the Sea. And there is literally nothing there besides the beach and a bunch of old people. And that's where my dad bought my mom her little beach house. And so I grew up in a little tiny house across the street from the beach. And my brother, he's 12 years older than me, Justin.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a big gap.
Yeah,
Huge gap.
Huge
You were an
gap.
accident.
Oh yeah, I was like, surprise, let's go through this moment in life again, make you young,
Yeah.
make my parents young again. And then I have a sister, Amanda, she's 10 years older than me. So they were like pretty much my best friends. And they were in high school. So they're like when I was growing up, so they took me everywhere. My brother took
Did
me
they have a
surfing.
choice?
They literally brought me to like, my sister would bring me along with her and her friends to do, high school stuff. And I'm like, we're gonna get in so much trouble. Like I'm like feeling kind of gangster rolling around my brother and sister. But
Did they surf?
my brother surfed a little bit. He bought a surfboard, and he surfed a little bit, but nothing like I got into. He taught me how to surf initially, and then there was this older kid in the neighborhood, Tyler Butler, and he was a little bit older than me, a couple years older than me, maybe 5 years older than me. He ripped. I didn't know about surfing at all, and to me, Tyler was so gnarly. I saw him, just do a top turn. I'm like, what? And so he was my coach, really, when I was really little. There was a he had an impact surfboard in his garage, a little 411 Charles Williams shape.
What age were you?
5,
6?
I was like 6 or 7 when I started like running with Tyler, and I was 5 when I started to surf. But I always like surfing on the boogie board because we had like a lot of shore pound and it's small all the time.
Ormond Beach. Right?
Ormond by the Sea.
Ormond by the Sea. And
Super cool place.
is that South Florida or is
It's north central Florida, so it's
Okay.
North Florida. When you get into Flagler, it's North Florida. Where I grew up, where my mom lives now, it's like 5 miles from Flagler and 5 miles from Ormond Beach. So it's like smack in the middle. It's a little peninsula thing. Yeah, so at like 6 or 7, I started getting hooked on it. He let me try that little board, and the first session I broke the nose off of it. And he was like, never again, you're never riding any of my boards or whatever. So I went back to like the beater board, my brother's board, and I couldn't carry the thing over, under my arm, so I had to put it on top of my head. And my parents let me walk across A1A when I was a child, which is like, that would never happen today. Like it's a, pretty busy road. Yeah.
that's your PCH, right?
Yeah, but it was like, when I was 5 years old, I was like, you're good, you can go cross A1A, The neighborhood kids always looked out for me. But Tyler, got me into it. And then I had a couple kids down the road that boogie boarded. And so like, whether we were surfing or boogie boarding or skimboarding, it was every single day. Like I didn't have anything else to do. Parents didn't have a whole ton of money, so we didn't have a whole lot
Was
of
it
stuff.
was the population? Was there a lot of people that lived there, or is it a small town?
When I grew up surfing, you would pray that someone would go surfing with you because there's no one else that surfs, and it's like only you and your friends. If you call your friends up and they don't want to surf, it's like, man, so you're begging for someone to surf with.
Wow.
So I grew up surfing a place where, like, I went places to surf with people. I'd go to Flagler Pier because they had a sick surf scene. A lot of people ripped there. Jimmy Bloomfield. This is before the Rasta Rob time. But yeah, I always go there, and Jimmy would always be out.
How far away was that pier?
5 miles to that pier. And then,
Which is far when you're a kid. Like,
Yeah.
You have to pretty much get a ride or a bus.
ride your mom's beach cruiser with a little red wagon on the back with your board bag bungee corded to it the whole way there. Yeah.
Don't make it turn too quick, or that thing's.
Yeah.
And it's flatland.
Yeah, it's flat. It's
Yeah.
good. Yeah, it's hot, but it's
What was the spot like where you lived, or the beach you went to? Was it like straight out, or did you have to still go down somewhere?
Yeah, it's just straight beach. Like
It's all the same.
It's really cool, that little strip. You can drive A1A. There's no condos or anything on the beach. You're right on the ocean. It's like PCH here, but like closer. And parts of Flagler have now washed away the A1A there, and they're trying to save it. They built it back and all this stuff, but it's right there. So like, you literally hop off your bike, hop out of your car, and you're out in the water in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Out in the lineup.
And what kind of swells did you guys get? A lot of waves, or is it pretty flat?
In that area, like, especially when you're a Grom, that's a lot of waves. Like,
Yeah.
Florida, like North Central Florida, we get a lot of waves. In North Florida, I mean, it's like a magnet up there. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, there was a lot of waves and a lot of hurricane swells, like through the summer. That's what was so cool about growing up, because all the first like swell experiences I had, it always kept getting, bigger, better, and it was like this really awesome slow journey, because we don't have like a lot of crazy swells often, but then when they do come, they're super memorable.
Yeah.
So I remember being a Grom, and so Steven Est, amazing surfer, like Slater era from Florida. He grew up, Steven Est, yeah. Ripper, like still one of my favorite surfers. He's from Ormond by the Sea. He grew up in a house, a street over from me, like right behind me. And his nephew lived there, and we were best friends growing up. So like Steve, and his brother Greg were like the Ormond Beach surfers, like
They were
bigger
hometown
than your
heroes.
hometown heroes.
Yeah,
They were, like,
for sure.
big names.
In a place like that, it was like I only knew Steven Ness. Like that's the only pro surfer I knew. Kelly Slater and Steven Ness.
They're like the ESMs and stuff, like getting covered all
You
sponsors.
remember
That's insane.
You remember their names?
Yeah.
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 And I would go over to it was Sean's grandmother, but Steve's mom. I go over to their house, and there's just posters and pictures of them all over the place. And it was like, to me, it was like surf.
I want to be
Celebrities.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So some big storms started rolling through. Like I remember, it was Hurricane Charlie was the most memorable one for me. I was in 5th grade.
Wow.
So I remember they canceled school. It was like category 4, almost 5, super gnarly. And I was,
not leaving. I'm surfing.
yeah, I wasn't even thinking about surfing like yet. I was like freaking out like the night before, thinking that the house was gonna blow away. And woke up the next morning, and Sean calls me and he's like, dude, the waves are going off. Like my uncles are going out. We have to go surf. Tyler was going out.
You're 5th grade.
Yeah, 5th grade.
Yep.
Roll up.
You're like 8 or 9 years old in 5th grade?
10.
Yeah, probably like 10.
Yeah.
And at this time, I still had this old board. My parents brought me a Red Dog surf shop in New Smyrna. And they bought me this like pop-out Michael Galsey board that me and my sister were supposed to share. And so I had that board. It was like a 5'10". I'm like a mini Grom. And I roll up to the beach, and there's like people's roofs in the ocean. Like the waves are firing, but there's like
Debris.
straight up gnarly category 5 hurricane debris in the ocean. And I'm like mind blown. Somebody's
Now, is it
couch.
offshore or onshore?
Offshore.
Offshore.
Yeah. So in Florida, like you got to be there right after the storm to get that cleanup because it spins and goes
Yeah.
offshore. So usually when we chase the swells, we chase them. You know, like you're in the storm, and then you wake up the next morning or later that night and it's offshore. That's when you get those crazy conditions. So woke up in the morning, it was offshore. It's huge. There's people's couches floating through the lineup, and I paddle out with Steve and Greg and Sean, and that was like that was the first real like epic surf moment for me. So I'm like, I didn't even know that waves could do that in Florida. I didn't even know.
Now, how good were you? Like, were you?
Oh, dude, I was going down the line, but I was just like
Yeah.
cruising.
Yeah.
You know, like
You
I
make
would,
the drop and pull in, but
For
first like
sure.
doing the bird.
yeah, like I remember that day I like went up on a section and did a floater, and I thought it was the most amazing thing ever. I was like, and I came down, and then I pulled into this barrel where I fell on my belly, and just to even be out there was insane. But Tyler, that kid, the older kid in the neighborhood, would force me to go out when I was a mini Grom. He'd make me hold on to his ankle and bring me all the way out the back because he wanted someone to surf with.
Yeah.
And I would sit out there. I wouldn't even catch waves. He'd surf the whole time, just watching him. And he would go in, and I'd have to catch a wave in no matter what. And so I like started this little thing when I was a kid. I was like, I have to go in on a good wave, always, no matter what. But yeah, Hurricane Charlie, first real memorable, like epic swell.
Yeah. And you were already hooked on surfing, and that day probably even like changed your life.
Oh, I was blown away. And then I was watching Steve and Greg surf like real time. And I saw them surf, you know, like we all surf together, but nothing like that. Like
Yeah.
that was like world class to me.
Yeah.
You know, like stuff I saw in the videos.
And everywhere up and down the coast is probably doing the same thing.
The same thing.
Because
But
it's
and they're just still out there in their little spot, you know, like
Any filmers back then or
no. Oh, dude, I didn't know what a filmer was, like, until I don't know, until I moved out here in like 2012, 2013, and I moved to San Clemente. And I was like, dude, what in the world? Like, you guys have people that film you and then you can watch it and you can get better. I was like, I was always praying that someone would get a photo of me. You know, like I would get maybe 3 or 4 photos a whole year. I was super blessed when I was like 14, 15. There was this guy, James Buffington.
Great name.
Yeah, epic dude. So as I got better with surfing, I think I was like 12 years old, and my friend Robbie Merrill was also from Mormon. His dad, their family built pontoon. So they built the jetty
Ponce,
at Ponce.
Ponce,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So they're like Ponce to the core. They love that spot. I didn't even know what Ponce Inlet was. It's the other side of New Smyrna. So you have the inlet, and then you have New Smyrna, where everybody, like all the gnarly guys are from. And then you have the other side of the jetty, the north side, Ponce. And so Rob and Robbie Merrill took me to Ponce Inlet one morning, and we went to Mad Dog Surf Shop, Bernie Crouch, Mad Dog Surf Shop, Ponce Inlet, like legendary. Travis AJ. Took me there one morning. I rode this little tiny Mad Dog fish. It was like 4'4", and I surfed. I went to Ponce, and it was like snapper rocks. It was like 3 or 4 foot crystal blue water. Really, it was insane.
Summertime or?
Summertime, yeah. Board shorts. And we went super early. Like, that was my first time getting up at 5 a.m. to go surf. Rob Merrill was up, drinking coffee, like yelling at us, "You gotta get in the car." You know, like, we gotta go, it's firing. And we get down there, and yeah, Robbie let me ride his little fish, and I got super stoked on it. And at that time, I was riding this old TNC. For my birthday one year, I counted out all this change that my dad used to put in a Folgers can when he got home from work. But I was changing the Folgers can, and
It's so funny to hear that. A lot of kids did that.
the Folgers
I
can,
still do it.
well, I still do it.
Yeah.
The metal can with the plastic top.
Yeah,
You get the little sled.
Drop
It's
controller.
a piggy bank.
Yeah.
It really is.
Surfer's piggy bank.
Yeah. So my dad, yeah, always had those Folgers things filled up with coins, and
Like, fuck, I got a few $100 in this.
my birthday was coming up, and I had went with Tyler to a surf shop down the road and saw this yellow TNC channel bottom swallowtail. It looked like it was for John or something. And it was $162
Used.
used. Yeah. And I was like, I have to have this thing. So I went home, counted out all that change, rolled it all up, and it was like $167. Like, it was just enough. And I went to it with a big Publix bag and rolled up coins to my parents, and I was like, "Can you please buy me this surfboard for my birthday? Like, and here's all the money for it. You just gotta take it there." And they were like, "Yeah," they agreed to it. We went to the bank, whatever. And they bought me that board, but my birthday wasn't for a month, so they wouldn't let me surf it. So I just like slept with this thing, fell in love with it. It was
Stickers,
my best
wax.
friend. Yeah. Oh, it had O'Neill stickers on it. I just left all this stuff on it because I was like, this is amazing. So I got that board, and then I rode it to the death. Like, my parents spent more money on ding repair for that board than they did on the board. It was crazy. Fin boxes, broken noses, whatever, but it was perfect because it got me through that like transition. Yeah.
Was there a surf shop that you in Oregon or no?
Not at the time. Well, there was a little tiny one. It's called Safari Surf Shop. It's still there. That was like our little hangout spot. But I didn't know about it yet. I was just starting to kind of meet friends and surfing. And so yeah, I went to Ponce for that first time, and they took me by Mad Dog, and they were like, "We think you should order a board from Bernie. Like, he'll help you out," because the board I was riding was so waterlogged. Nobody wanted me to ride it. That's why they were like,
You need to know.
"Yeah, you need something new." So I got my first custom from Bernie, and he was, you know, like really, he's a really gnarly dude, but really great person. Very, very giving, and he gave me a board as a grom, just hooked me up with it. My parents didn't have money to pay for that board. When it was done, it was like, my dad's tripping out. He's like, "You ordered a board, you know?" Like,
What are you doing?
yeah, like, I don't know.
So he sponsored you.
Yeah, he sponsored me when I was a grom. Mad
This
Dog.
is Mad Dog Surfboard?
Yeah, Bernie Crouch.
And you ordered a board that's like perfect dens for your size, everything.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you're not getting this oversized
Oh my,
board.
I
You
wish-
gotta grow into it. It's gonna last you forever. Like, no,
No.
I'm getting a.
No.
Did
Bernie
you
was-
know that he was giving it to you, or?
No, he was always real low key about it, and I was super like, real humble kid. Like, I was so like just always like in awe of everything.
What do you need me to do? Trash?
Yeah,
Like,
for
sweep? Like,
sure.
you know.
For sure. So I got my first Mad Dog, and I met Travis AJ, and Travis AJ was like that first person to like help me out with surfing. Like, he would coach me at the ESAs, and he would teach me all these things, and
Now, is he a pro surfer or?
Travis, yeah, pretty much. Could have been a pro surfer if he wanted to, but he's an announcer. He's like MC, professional MC. Yeah,
That's
like
cool.
East Coast. If you've ever been to an event on the East Coast, you've heard Travis on the mic.
Okay.
Legendary. He's from Ponce Inlet. An absolute legend, but yeah, he
Good surfer too.
very good surfer. Yeah, and just OG Ponce guy. And so he helped
Took you
me
under
out.
his wing.
Yeah, for sure.
Would he help you on like stance, style, like timing?
Oh,
Like I mean, you know, because there's so many
Everything,
nuances to.
Funny stuff
being better.
though, because it wasn't like hardcore coaching. It was like I went to ESA regionals one year, and he was yelling at me because he like saw me warming up, and he's like, "You need a longer board or a narrower stance." He's like, "Dude, your stance is horrible." But he would teach me like all kinds of stuff. Like he would put little wax balls on my board, so I knew how many waves I was catching in the heat. Because on the East Coast, when you surf a contest, it's wind swell. You could catch 15 waves in 15 minutes. And you only get 12 waves, whatever. So you like have
Somebody had that tactic too, right?
It was pretty common
Yeah.
back because, yeah, I mean, you're just catching waves. Like you're not
Yeah.
thinking of waiting for stats. You're just a grom. You're just catching
Yeah,
waves.
you
Like,
just
yeah.
literally turn and go on anything.
What was your first contest?
It was a Christian Surfers contest, the Christian Surfers Spring Fling. And they actually had their 20th year this year. I thought I missed it. I was in Maryland. But yeah, Christian Surfers Spring Fling, and they did it in this grass lot in Ormond by the Sea the year after they built the park. But it was just a little event, like a couple tents, and my sister signed me up for it. I didn't even know. This is when I was riding that top
GC?
out board. Yeah, no, before
Oh,
that
before that.
510, like I was going straight still. She signed me up for the contest. I had a baseball game later that day, and I surfed my first heat, and I got last place. And I came in, and she came up to me. I had so much fun because I tried to get barreled the entire time. Like I literally every wave I tried to pull in, and I came in. I was all stoked. Like I didn't even know about advancing anything. I was just like, she signed me up for it. I put the jersey on and went out. And came in, she was like, "Yeah, the judges said you need to stop trying to get barreled every wave." And I was like, "What do you mean? Like that's what you want to do, right?"
That's gonna score the most points.
Yeah. And
So you do this contest not knowing that you have to like do certain things.
I had no idea.
You're like, give me the jersey, I'm out
Please
there.
put me out there. I think I was surfing like a mini human division that's like 12 and under. Like the kids that were out there were ripping, doing turns and stuff. I wasn't even watching them, dude. I was like sitting on the inside, just pulling in every wave, like on the shore break. Yeah.
How many kids would be in like an event like that?
Oh,
Packed?
yeah. You'd have it. Yeah. Back in that day too. Like not a lot of events. That was a big thing every year. That was our biggest
the big
thing.
draw.
Oh yeah. Until I was like older and started expanding more. So I did that event, and then the next year I got second place.
Huh.
And it was like,
So you didn't do any more contests until the next year?
no. I didn't even know there was other contests. I just thought that was just a thing we did in town, like
Yeah.
like small town thing.
You
Yeah.
didn't pull in on every wave in that one. That
No, and that year was way gnarly. It was like big nor'easter conditions, and I was surfing against a bunch of gnarly kids riding that TNC, and none of us made it out the back. One kid made it out the back, Michael Woodard. He was real big and gnarly. He was one of those gnarly kids, and he went out the back and did one turn, and like he had us all combo, we were all fighting for second place and down, and I got second that year, and it was like real big for me. I was like, wow, this is crazy. I beat a couple kids that were like really good surfers, and I was never even really trying, just cruising, having fun. So yeah, I got second in that, and then later that year I did the Mad Dog thing. So that was like into the summer after the spring fling, and then my board got waterlogged. Mad Dog came along, Travis AJ came along, and then ESA started up. So I started doing ESAs, and that was really like for me, that was it, just the ESAs. I never did an NSSA because it was way too expensive. It's like, my parents were like, dude, this is enough already having this membership for you here and paying for these contests and taking you there. So I did the ESAs, but I made sure that like I was super competitive, like from early on. We had our little clique in Ormond. At this point, like when I got on Mad Dog and
This is when kids are starting to get sponsored.
oh, dude, this is like,
And
and
you got
the surf industry is like going off at this time. Like, big deal. Jesse Heilman is around. Like, if you ever heard of him, he was
I remember his
insane. And he rode for Lost at the time. We would see Gorkin time to time. So a lot of these guys would come in and out of Daytona, Ponce, Ormond, whatever, and we would get to see them surf. And like, we had a gnarly surf scene, like growing up.
Yeah.
But it was like still us as Grom, they were just like whatever, you know, fend for yourself. So we had our own little scene, but we were all super competitive. So when I started doing ESAs, like it was just naturally, you know, like I love it.
Were those just like local, or did you have to go up and down the coast pretty far to
It starts local. And most of the ones in my district were in New Smyrna. So I was super lucky when
Not
I
too far
started
away.
doing those. I got to go surf New Smyrna, and I got to surf against Noah Schweitzer and Nate Colbert and CJ Lyles, all these like New Smyrna guys that were gnarly. And so yeah,
Who were the like older generation New Smyrna guys?
Gorkin, Jeremy Johnson. Dude, my entire life watching Jeremy Johnson surf, I'm like, I wish I could surf on my backhand like that. He's gnarly.
Is he a goofy footer?
Goofy footer.
Okay.
Yeah. Him, Gorkin, you got Eric, Evan's my age, but I
Eric
always,
and Evan, guys.
I always looked up to Evan. Evan was like, when I was a kid, that was the goal. You know, like
those guys are so nice.
grind
Still
as
are.
hard as you can. Yeah, dude, they're so good. They're so talented. So it was cool we had that to look up to. You know, like, and he was like pro, you know, at whatever, 14, 15. So we
Yeah.
were like, super, it really kept us driven to like get to, you know, the higher next level. But yeah, like more competitive. That area was really competitive in Smyrna.
Yeah.
Where was the spot? Is there like a jetty there or a pier, or
Yeah.
just the way the waves suck into the beach?
Yeah, so you got the Intercoastal Waterway, which is like a river.
Yeah.
That runs all throughout Florida. And then you have these inlets that come out in all these different towns.
A lot of Santa Cruz and goes up.
Yeah, and then you have a little jetty, but New Smyrna is just really unique the way the coastline is and how short the jetty is. It picks up anything, so there's always a rideable wave in Smyrna, even when the whole East Coast is flat.
Don't tell me.
Yeah. By now, yeah, everybody knows that.
Yeah.
But it's the most sharky place. Like, it is so sharky, dude. And it's even gnarlier now. Like, it's getting crazier. Like, they had the NSSA contest a couple weeks ago there. I was free surfing. I was down there coaching a couple proms. And, like, the locals are so gnarly. They don't even care. They step on sharks, and they're, like, thrashing around on the inside, these huge sharks, and they just don't care. They're
You
just
guys
like,
got all kinds of different.
I'm sitting there seeing stars, like, dude, shit.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
that's
crazy.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll take a little nibble. It won't
Yeah.
kill you.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But you guys, Florida gets all the sharks.
All
Yeah.
the sharks, dude.
Great
They
whites.
just caught a 15-foot tiger shark off the end of Giants Beach Pier.
Dang.
Yeah, a guy in a kayak fought it for hours.
Tiger sharks, bull sharks, everything.
Great whites, too.
Great whites.
Yeah. They don't come too close.
So, how, you guys got these little spots in New Smyrna. Like, Sebastian's like your lowers over there. Like, that's the
At the time.
That's like the wave, right?
Yeah, at the time, but Smyrna was like,
Just as good.
yeah, because all those guys would come up to Smyrna. And Smyrna's high performance.
Yeah.
So, Sebastian, like, was just really, I mean, it's super high performance as well, but just very, like, its own wave. And then it kind of went away for a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, our lowers was New Smyrna. That's where
Okay.
all the contests were. ESA, Grom
Most
Surf.
consistent spot.
Yeah.
Always good.
The first pro event I surfed was there when they did the Vulcan DQSs. Yeah, that's our lowers there. So yeah, like it was cool having that real close.
Yeah.
45 minutes away from where I grew up.
So you started consistently surfing the ESAs.
I'd say like
12 years.
yeah, 12, 13.
That was like every weekend, a couple contests a month.
Like not maybe one every
month.
couple months. Like we maybe had like 6 a year. So they were a big deal.
Yeah.
If you were getting ready for ESA, like it was a big deal. Like out here, NSSA or Prime or any of that.
Oh, there's an event every weekend if you
Yeah.
wanted to
Yeah.
travel or compete in a few different organizations.
Yeah, yeah. And on the East Coast, the ESA is core. Like that's it. That's how you get to the next level. And it's cool to making its way back now, but when I was growing up, you know, we were like NSSA. Yeah, okay. I want an East Coast title. I don't want a national title.
Yeah.
So you're doing well. Did you get like a clothing sponsor, wetsuit sponsor after that? Like this work?
No, and that was like the gnarly thing. So that was like for me, I learned real early about like stuff with how the industry kind of works because when I was growing up, my parents had barely had enough money to sign me up for the event and take me to the event. Like my dad was a machinist, my mom was a teacher, so it's just barely getting by. Surfing was just like I was lucky to be able to surf. My brother and sister were in college, you know, so like I was lucky that I even was able to do that. So a lot of my friends started traveling and they could go and do a lot of stuff and all the sponsors were like, it was them, you know, like they kind of already had some
Small
money.
group.
Yeah, some money to roll around with. Their parents had some money to send them on some trips, do this, do that. And so it was like, for me, I was like stuck.
What was your first surf trip?
First surf trip?
Like out of Florida or?
I went to Easterns in the Outer Banks. Yeah, so I remember that was like one of the biggest moments for me because I went down to Melbourne to Sebastian Inlet. And that year that I qualified, it was super gnarly for me. I had to win this one contest. It was a double points contest, and it was super big. And I always surfed against Noah Schweitzer. Like he's so gnarly. And I remember this contest. I had to win to be able to go to regionals, and it was real big. And I somehow won, and it was a real gnarly morning for me. Like my parents didn't want to take me to the contest; they were kind of fighting. I was real went in with like this real hunger, and I won the contest, and like everyone was blown away. Wasn't expecting me to win at all, and I won it. Yeah, and I qualified for regionals.
Who was in the final? Noah Schweitzer?
That's all. I don't even remember. It was just him.
Didn't matter.
At that point, you know, when you get to that point, like you have your like kind of rivals, and like
How many heats to the final?
there was like a few, you know, there was like 4 rounds or something.
Yeah.
A lot of comps. But to me, like to win, he was the only one I had to like get past.
Yeah.
You know, like that was like he was the gnarliest guy. And I never beat him
for
before.
Rupert, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a new Samaritan.
Regular footer?
Yeah, he's got an older brother too, Niels. Yeah. Super gnarly. Kind of like the Eric and Evan. Niels and Noah, Eric and Evan.
bros.
Yeah. So yeah, I won that ESA and I qualified for regionals, and I went down there with my dad. We stayed in this horrible hotel. Like we get there and there's like fresh blood on the bed and dead cockroaches, and it
What?
smells gnarly. Like
This is the Outer Banks?
no, this is Melbourne, Sebastian Inlet. It's this gnarly hotel. My dad's like, we're going to Walmart and getting sleeping bags. So we go to Walmart and get sleeping bags. I just remember like I was so hyped up to surf the next day. I didn't sleep that night. I was like laying in the sleeping bag all night, just frothing. And got down there, surfed Sebastian for the first time, had so much fun. I ended up making the final and qualified to go to Easterns. So I went up to Easterns, and that was like my first real surf trip, was going up to North Carolina and the Outer Banks. And my first real
What were
taste
you
of
riding
it.
in? Mad Dog?
Mad Dogs, yeah. Bernie was still getting me boards, but it was like 1 a year maybe 2 a year, depending on how fast I was growing. And I was just letting him, like, there wasn't any other options. It wasn't like I was gonna go get another board sponsor, or like go get a quote. Like Travis hooked me up with some stickers and some Imperial Motion gear because he was a rep for them. But I was a barometer size 32 boardies and a large hoodie. Like, I was like rolling around this extra baggy stuff for years, like with an Imperial Motion sticker on my board. Like, I always wanted to, you know, like I always thought it was so cool. These guys had sponsors. Go up to Eastern and see Mason Barnes, you know, like all these guys, Cam Richards, all these guys, they got sponsors and they rip really hard. And I always like wanted it, but it was never like, I didn't like, it was always out of the picture for me. Because I knew like everything that like kind of came with it and where you had to be, what you had to do. And I was like, surfing was everything, but it was school too. Like I was.
Parents put pressure on school.
No, not even that.
Just you.
Just like, yeah, I wanted to do good. I loved school, and my brother and sister were really smart. They, you know, they were going to UF, and so I always, you know, like I was always focused on school, and I was in regular school. So that was another thing. This is the time when everybody's just starting to get homeschooled and virtual school and all this stuff, and it's like that's not even an option for me. Like I got honor classes, AP classes in high school, like all this stuff, you know. So traveling for surfing was in the picture because my parents don't have money to send me to Puerto Rico or California or wherever it is. Like they barely have enough money just to let me go to Easterns for a week. My dad, you know, didn't take any vacations, didn't buy anything for himself. It was Easterns, you know. That was it. That was our thing.
Yeah.
So no sponsors, you know, like, but we were just like kind of just thugging it out. Like I got the boards from Bernie, and I was just always really stoked.
Did you participate in other sports, like traditional sports?
I did baseball. That was like my first thing. Baseball and like popcorn football, tackle football.
Take somebody out.
The day that my parents told me I was allowed to do tackle football was the sickest thing ever. And I was younger than when I got into surfing. That was like before I got into surfing.
Wait, I get put on pads and just go take somebody
sick.
out?
But I was always a little guy, so I was like running back, or like they had me at like nose guard one year because I was so small that I could go under the center's legs and get the quarterback. Like I was doing all this weird stuff because I was just like a little guy. And then once I started getting older, like there was a certain day that I quit everything else. I was surfing, and my board hit me in the head. I had a baseball game that night. I went to the baseball game. They're like, "You got to go get stitches." I'm like, "No, I'm not. Just let me play." And they're like, "Yeah, you do." And I was like, "You're not gonna like tell. I just came from surfing. No one's telling me what to do there. I'm gonna go to this sport, and you're like not even letting me play this big game. Like, telling me what to do." And I was like, "I'm out of here." And so like that day, it was like all surfing forever on. So yeah, I played baseball. I really liked that. I played football. I wanted to play soccer, but it was too expensive for my parents to sign me up. So I ended up playing baseball because it was $30 cheaper. And I was stoked on that.
Yeah.
I was really stoked. But yeah, surfing, like once the ESA got going, like that's when I really got into it. And then high school came around.
Any surf school? Was there enough surfers or?
We tried. There wasn't a thing.
Wasn't
In Florida, like maybe now they could do like Coco had some stuff going on. You know, there's a few places, but
Not
yeah, not
your
really.
zone.
No. But I went to school. It was cool because I was in Orlando by the Sea. That's where I lived. And then I went to school in Port Orange, which is down near Ponce Inlet. So it's 45 minutes away, but it's right near Ponce Inlet. So when I was in high school and I started driving, keep my board in the car, I get to surf Ponce every day after school. And then I was a lifeguard, so I was working at Ponce and surfing Ponce, you know, and Travis AJ, and hanging out with him. He had me under his wing, and my friends Jerry Schaefer and Robbie Merrill, like we had a cool little crew. So Ponce is like a huge part of my heart because that was like where I pretty much fell in love with like surfing. Yeah, for real, like
Teenagers, kind of on your own.
Yeah,
Playing with different circles of friends.
And it's like
your first job?
Yeah, on Blue
What a great job, right?
Epic, dude. And
Was there,
like,
was there a junior guards program as youth, or you just go straight into
yeah, but it was like summer camp. Like, your parents just sit there, they give you the rash guard, you sit there.
You're at the beach all
yeah,
day,
they take
babysit.
it on the back of the jet ski, like give you some snacks. But like where I'm from, that's the best job you can get as a teenager because good pay and it's serious. Like
Yeah.
you learn a lot. And so I'm super thankful for that job.
Which is, it's pretty intense, like, you know.
Yeah.
Dude, like,
You gotta-
and I had some gnarly stuff happen to me at like 16, 17 years old. You know, my first summers, like it's literally saving people's lives. If I wouldn't have went, people would have died. If I wouldn't have, performed.
So you had to go through the CPR.
I did it all.
Training.
Yeah.
I did it all, and I had the experiences in it.
First aid.
Like I couldn't do it now, but I was so psyched on it back then. I'm so thankful I had that because it really like had a lot of character development. It really made me who I am today. It really gave
Yeah,
me
you're not bus boying or folding shirts or something.
Yeah,
Like,
it gave
it's
me
a pretty
purpose.
intense
I had
job
a lot
and
of
responsibility.
for sure, and I felt a strong
Responsibility.
strong sense of purpose. And I draw a lot. I draw back on that a lot now that I'm older to that job and how much purpose I felt in that job and what I was doing. And it was super cool for me.
And that's where all the chicks hung out.
100%.
Beach.
Dude. We had the cheerleading competitions come through. We had spring break. It was like 14 weeks of the year. It's like Daytona.
Wait, when is this
Crazy.
wrapping up?
Yeah. So, it.
Where were you a lifeguard? Ponce and.
So I wanted the busiest beach my first year. So my first summer I did Daytona Beach on the gnarliest tower. So like I was going on,
Daytona is like one of the
Parties.
great capitals
Yeah.
in the world.
yeah,
And they have like all the bikers
it's gnarly.
roll through there, right?
NASCAR, it's
Yeah.
super touristy.
Yeah. I mean,
It's
people
like-
just roll
it's
up their
Florida,
trucks
it's-
on the beach,
Oh, yeah, you
right?
drive on the beach there.
It's,
yeah.
it's as Florida can get.
It's
Daytona.
Daytona
Right?
is classic.
You make,
So,
you
yeah,
make
like
drinks with parties with everybody, and you're
in
guaranteed
the
to be
hot
busy.
sun, it's like we call it Dirtona. If you're from Daytona area, it's called Dirtona.
Yeah.
You can kind of like brag about that because we all kind of grew up outside Daytona. If you're from Daytona, it's pretty gnarly. But that's where you go. That's the biggest city closest by. So it's like Daytona.
Do they have a board riders club, Daytona?
They do.
They do,
They got a lot of really gnarly people in the club. They're still in their early stages.
Yeah.
So they're just still building, but Travis is in charge now, and
Okay.
he's getting the team dialed. They have some gnarly surfers, Jesse Heilman, like really Jay Smith. There's a lot of guys from Ponce with Daytona that are really good surfers.
Yeah.
So yeah, they have their board riders club is classic. It's as Daytona as it gets. And
I think their logo is a biker, right?
yeah, it's got a shark on a motorcycle.
Yeah.
And I love all those guys, but I'm Jack's board riders. That's like I'm from Warm by the Sea, but Jacksonville is a place where like it welcomed me home, and it was the first place where I felt a sense of community
And it's good to have good friends on other teams too.
For
the
sure.
rivalry, like
For
hey,
sure.
you probably have a ton of good friends on the Daytona team, but it's like that makes more to like whip their ass.
Yeah, 100%.
You know?
And that honestly, it's like the only time I really get to see them sometimes is at the board riders event, so it's cool. But yeah, I moved after I graduated high school. I was super hardcore on school. I thought I was going to college. I could have.
You had all the grades and
Everything,
and the drive.
dude, anywhere, could have went anywhere. And my mom told me, she's like, I think you should take 2 years off and surf because my friends were doing all this stuff and I never got to do it. And I finally saved up enough money from lifeguarding to be able to go on a surf trip. So I was going on a surf trip for my graduation. I was going to Nicaragua. And she's like, I think you should take a couple years off to just surf. I was like, what?
Wow.
Okay, like I'm gonna listen to you. You're my mom, and I love surfing so much. Like, there was school for me and surfing. Like, I'm not one of those people that I like to fish too, and I like to skateboard, and I like to hang out and do this, do that. It's like surfing and breathing and learning, and that's it. Like, I've been so obsessed with surfing my entire life. So when she said that, it was like,
Well,
Yeah.
You were good in school. What were you gonna go to college for? What
no
was
idea.
No, you didn't have a career.
No way, because I think it was the competitive thing for me in school. Like, I like being good in school because I wanted to be like, I wanted to be the best. You know, if there's like this level, if I can get A++++, I want to do that. You know, like, and I always like, my mom was a teacher, so I always valued education, and like, I spent a lot of time around my grandma when I was a kid, and older people, and I always valued like educating yourself.
Yeah.
And so I always thought, you know, like, everything in school was cool.
But
Until
you
like,
didn't know what like career
No.
path you were gonna take.
I
Your mom
didn't-
said
I did.
to take 2 years off, go and do some
Cruises.
cruises.
Yeah, I was in the Academy of Finance in high school, and that's like a program where it's like a lot of business stuff. You have accounting, and you have different business classes. You got to dress business professional and casual, like at school throughout the week. And so like I wanted to do something in business, I guess. But I did my senior project on, it's funny enough as where I am right now, but like on a surf camp, surf school. And it's funny how it all goes back to that. But yeah, I did this crazy project my senior year on like a surf school.
And seeing if it's like a profitable business,
Yeah.
and like trying to map out,
Yeah.
like, okay, I got X amount of students and that, you know, like
Yeah, and it was kind of
P&L
like,
reports and
for sure, I was like kind of pulling a lot of stuff like, you know, out of my butt, but it was just kind of whatever.
was there surf schools? So if you lifeguard, was there surf schools around or like?
There
Like,
wasn't
like
there
lessons?
wasn't surf schools. No,
Like-
there was some surf camps, but there wasn't like anything. There weren't like surf coaches or like nothing like that. I had no idea.
Just maybe
The
a
way they
tourist.
were, there were surf camps, meaning just babysitting all day for
yeah, for sure,
Yeah,
on
for
the
sure.
beach.
And at that point, I was like,
like soft tops.
I want to travel around the world. Like, I can come back to this later on, like the surf school thing. Like, I gotta see surfing first, you
Yeah.
know. Like, I've been to California once for nationals, made a round, and then got smoked by Clouse. It was the sickest thing ever at Huntington. And I was like, yeah, like I want to go compete, and I want to travel and do all this stuff. So I graduated high school. Like, before I even graduated, I moved up to Jacksonville because I had a bunch of friends up there. Tristan Thompson, Daniel Calloway, like a bunch of my
You
friends.
switch schools?
No,
Oh,
I
just
finished,
moved.
I just finished everything, and I was like, later, like I'm
Yeah.
gonna go. My friends got a room for me to rent. Like, I'm just gonna move to Jacksonville.
Nice.
I loved it up there because the surf scene was gnarly. Like, paddle out any day of the week. You got Tristan Thompson, Evan Thompson, Cody Thompson, Asher Nolan, Garrett Carmichael. Like, these gnarly guys, and they rip really hard. And they're super competitive. And like I said, I grew up somewhere where there was no one surfing. So to me, when I went to Jacksonville and I was hanging out with Tristan and going surfing, you know, with my buddies, it was
a contest
it
every
was
free surf.
sick.
Yeah.
It was sick.
Now, was there localism there? Like, did you ever experience?
Nothing like real gnarly because it was just like I knew a lot of people for like, you know, like I knew Tristan for a while. Josh Motes, one of my best. He's like my brother. Jason Motes' son.
Yeah.
We met at an ESA contest when we were kids, and then when I moved back up there, it was just like we were just like long lost brothers. You know, when I moved up there, it was weird. It wasn't like I moved up there. It was just like, welcome home. Like, you should be from here,
Yeah.
type thing. It was kind of like I fit in. Like, I didn't really fit in down in Daytona, Ormond, Ponce area. You know, there was like just this kind of scene where I just never really like clicked there. And then I moved to Jacksonville, and it was like kind of gnarly, rough around the edges. People were wild, like surf scene's competitive. Like, that was like, felt like home. I don't know, it smelled bad, like the water's dark. It's like,
I gotta
you know,
check
it's
this
like-
out.
It's rough around the edges, and it felt like home. And all the people what made it home is my friends. I never had friends like that until I moved to Jacksonville. My buddy Connor Deputy and my buddy Frank O'Rourke, I met these kids. They were grown. They're like 15 years old. met him at a surf contest, and they were just like like the friendship. It wasn't like real competitive, you know, like or like I want something out of you. It was just like that's real friends, you know. My boys looking out for me. Yeah, we're just surfing all day and just like.
Did you lifeguard there too, or did you already?
Yeah.
What were you doing then?
So I was cruising so hard. I got fired from the lifeguard job, right? After I graduated because I was smoking weed. Can't do that, and I tested positive, and yeah, I got fired from that job. And that was the worst day of my life. I was so upset. It broke my heart. I remember like talking to my mom, like just bawling my eyes. I was so sorry. This is the worst day of my life. Like it broke my heart.
And what was that, year 2 into it, or?
Yeah. So yeah, it was like my 3rd summer. So I graduated. I went to Jacksonville, and then I came back to try to lifeguard for the summer, and it was just like, yeah, it ended there. And so before I moved to, I was working at Maui Nix too. So in like an off season, because you lifeguard in the summertime. So I was working at Maui Nix Surf Shop. It's a huge surf shop in Daytona.
I've been there.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's
George
classic. Yeah.
Armitos.
Yep. And Costa. Yeah. So I had like, I had the Maui Nix money. I worked in their little warehouse. So I had some of that saved up. But I went and did a Volcom contest in Smyrna. And
How awesome was Volcom?
dude, Dane, it's so crazy to like the whole circle of everything, because when I was growing up, I did those Volcom contests, and I thought Dane and Daniel were like just the most awesome guys ever, because they were so positive. Like what they brought to us with the Volcom contest was like incredible. It was such a big part of like my journey.
Yeah. I gotta hand it to Volcom in those early days. They somehow either recruited the right people, or the right people just automatically
Gravitated towards
Yeah,
it. You know,
yeah.
they were having the most fun. They were party gnarly animals.
Yeah.
But
business.
they were
But
just
grassroots, like authentic
marketing
but
machine.
they did it right.
Yeah.
Like they created the crustaceous surf.
Yeah.
The
Circle.
VQS.
Yeah, the VQS, and like every
All the funny.
it's had different names.
Yeah.
Ours was the sea cow.
Sea cow.
Yeah, because manatees.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, just so epic. And Dane and Daniel.
So Dane is from Florida.
Yeah, Dane
Daniel's from
Jeffries, and Daniel
Virginia
Terry.
Beach?
No, they're both from Jacksonville.
Oh, they're both from Jacksonville.
Yeah, Daniel Terry, Dane Jeffries, they're both from Jacksonville. Yeah, like they always like show me love at those contests. That like hype me up. I never had anybody hype me up before, like at a contest. I'd stand up on a wave and I'd like, these guys like my surfing. That's so cool. So I always did those contests, and then they had one at Smyrna one year, and I did the pro-am and I won $1,000.
Nice.
So I was kind of cruising. I had some money from Maui Nix. I just had this $1,000.
Surf trip.
Pretty much. I go back to Jacksonville, and my buddy calls me up one day, and he's like, "Hey, I just moved to California. My mom rented me a studio apartment. Like, you should move out here with me, and we'll split it. $800, $400 a piece. Like, dude, what?
For the summer?
This
per
is
month?
this is in this is like at the end of summer. So this is in like, I think it was like October, the contest, early October. I won the contest, so I like left in October. Got to California in November, and I lived in San Clemente, in a studio apartment with my buddy, kind of Kurt in the middle. I'm like, I was like cruising, got to surf blowers every day, and like it was whoa. I was in the scene. Like I was training with Kevin Dean at DSC. He was helping me out, hooked me up with training, him and Scotty. And I was like the luckiest kid ever, just graduated high school, like sent it to California. I had no money. Parents weren't like sending me money. There was like no backup. It was just like what I had. And I was trying so hard to get a job.
Yeah, like if you have limited funds, no job, you're moving out, like, you know, pedal to metal, like, you gotta figure something
Let's
out.
hope for the best.
Yeah. So I was grinding super hard looking for a job in San Clemente. And at that time, it was like jobs were competitive to get. It's not like now where everybody wants to hire anybody with a pulse. It's like I had an interview at Nick's, and I had to go through 5 interviews, and I killed them all. Like, cause
At Nick's?
at
Where-
Nick's on
breakfast?
San Clemente.
The food?
They got like South of Nick's and Nick's San Clemente. It's like
Okay.
a nice fancy restaurant in San Clemente, right? So I invested weeks into this process with Nick's. I don't eat there for this reason, but for them to like, I did 5 interviews, and in the last one, I was like chewing gum or something, and they called me and they're like, yeah, we're not gonna hire you because you're chewing gum in your last interview. I was like, what? It was like so baffling.
So ticky tack. Wow.
Yeah. And so that happened, and then my roommate went to San Fran, came back with his chick. I just paid him rent. Went to San Fran, came back with his chick. Walks in one day, like early on in the month, and he's like, yeah, you gotta move out, my chick's moving in. And I was like, what? I thought it was a joke. He was like, no, dude, you gotta move out, my chick's moving in. And I seriously thought it was
He
a
just
joke.
met this chick.
Yeah, he was like with her for a little
And you
bit.
just paid
like,
him rent.
Yeah, I just paid rent. And so I take a shower and I come out and all my stuff's gone. I'm like, dude, where's all my stuff? He's like, oh, I put it outside for you, helping it out. We lived on El Camino Real, like in these little apartments near T. Patterson. And he put all my stuff on the curb, El Camino Real, and it all got stolen. So it was this huge ordeal. I knew really only a few people in California at this point.
Why would he put it out? You're in the shower, you come out, all the stuff's
It
out.
was so rattling, dude. It was so rattling. Yeah.
And you
And
knew
so
he's. How long did you know this guy?
my whole life. I'm not gonna say his name, but
Okay.
Yeah.
we you know, like
Those that know, know.
I love him for life. Yeah, but I grew up with this kid. It was just one of those things. It was just like
Chicks.
chicks, dude.
Freaking chicks.
And so it was like
We
this-
call that.
yeah.
Good.
For
Good.
sure.
Kept telling your roommate to leave. No, it's okay.
Oh, it was, yeah. And so it was this big ordeal, and yeah, I had nowhere to go. And my buddy Ethan's like, hey, you can come to my house for the night, but like, that's it. So
But all your shit's gone.
I got a backpack right now at this point. 2 weeks before, my roommate left his keys on his tire at T Street. Someone got into the car, stole my wallet, my phone. My wallet had my social security card, my driver's license, my debit cards, like all my stuff. So I literally
2 weeks prior to you getting kicked out.
yeah, I still had nothing, dude. I didn't have an ID, I had nothing.
And you had no job.
No job. I had a backpack on my back.
And this is 2 weeks in California.
No, this is like a month or so. Like I'd say, yeah, this is like December. Like I went out there in like October.
Can't get a job, getting kicked out, everything's stolen.
No, yeah.
Like, what an experience.
Welcome to California. But it's those things like you got to go through when you're young like that, you know, and when you're like when you're beginning your journey, you know, because that's what
That's
builds
life
you.
does. Life goes
Yeah,
fucking
for
curveballs.
sure.
It
Punches you.
doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger.
For sure, yeah.
But you're like just out of high school.
Just out of high school, yeah. And so yeah, I went to my friend Ethan's house that night, and his dad was out of town, so he had a huge party at his house in San Clemente. He lives up on the cliff. He had a bunch of punk bands playing. We had everybody there, right? And the cops come. We're seeing people to their cars, like telling them, hey, you should leave. Cops come, you know, they're here. We don't want you guys to get in trouble. We went up to this one group of kids, like San Clemente MMA guys, and we were like, hey, you guys probably should go. The cops are here. And like, it was like as soon as we said it, I just got hit, and I just fell to the ground, and we got jumped. And this is me and my friend Connor. He's from Huntington, and so we got jumped, and it was just like me and him. And Landon was there too at that party. One of my friends from Huntington. Yeah, like I just met all these guys that night, and they were like, I was like, dude, I just went through all this stuff today. Now I gotta jump. Like we were all so beat up, and they were like, you know, you can come stay with us. Anything we can do for you, whatever. And it was like, I was was like, okay, at least I got a place to stay tomorrow night, right? So when all that stuff happened, I didn't have a place to live. I called my brother-in-law, and I'm like, yo, dude, this is what's going down. He's like, all right, hold up, let me make some phone calls. I'm gonna try to get you a job. So his cousin was cellmates with the guy who was the manager at the Stussy warehouse. Yeah.
You were telling me the story.
Yeah. So, and Rich, he's an awesome guy. So yeah, he made this phone call. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna set you up with Rich. Just go to Stussy and like tell him you're looking for a job and you know Rich, whatever. So I get jumped, and my buddies.
Yeah, black guys.
Yeah, dude. And my buddies live in Huntington, so I go with them. They drop me off at the Stussy warehouse the next day, and I walk in there like all beat up. I look homeless, dude. It's so gnarly. And they were like, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "I'm here for an interview." Like I just made it up, and they're like, "Oh, with who?" I'm like, "Yeah, with Rich." And they're like laughing at me because he's just the warehouse guy, like. And so they're like, "No, seriously, what's up?" And I just told my whole story. I'm like, "Listen, I'm out here trying to make it in surfing and whatever. Like, all this stuff happened to me. I refuse to go back. Like, I'm not just gonna call my parents and be like, "Hey, can you send me home?" Like, I got it. Like, just,
That makes this work.
Yeah. So they hired me on the spot. Started working at Stussy.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I was couch surfing with my buddy Connor Jensen. His family opened. His dad shapes here in Huntington.
Sean Jensen?
Yeah.
What a small
We knew Sean
world.
Jensen.
Yeah. Sean opened his home up to me and let
They've
me
had
stay
some
with them.
Tragic things happen.
Yeah. They're one of the best families I've ever met. And so, like, I never experienced anything like that. Like, for someone to open up their home, his mom lived in, a very small place, and they had all the family there, and they made room for me. And they let me stay just, and were so, like, have my back no matter what. I was getting up at 5 a.m. to go get on the bus to Stussy every day. I wasn't
Take the
surfing.
bus to Stussy.
Back and forth, back and forth.
Work in the warehouse.
Yep,
Who
working
hired
around.
you? Like,
At Stussy?
Yeah.
The owner.
Frank?
Yeah, Frank. Because
You know that
Frank,
Jay used to ride for Stussy.
I rode for him for 5 years.
He rode for Stussy.
Same.
There was only 2 surfers that rode for Stussy? Kaipo Wakias and Jay Larson.
Yeah.
insane, dude.
Yeah.
And we had,
And we had a bunch of other friends that worked there. And
yeah.
so
and
how long did you?
Jim Hogan.
Yeah, Hogan worked there.
Yeah. Was Hogan in the back? Or was
No,
everyone-
I would always see Masaki though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd always see
The
Masaki.
lower slope.
Yeah, and he was always so stoked to see me because like I was like the surfer. When I worked in the warehouse, like there's not really people like me working in the warehouse, and so like it was like a cool thing.
But there's a lot of surfers that worked at Stussy.
Yeah, for sure. No, they're like
R.A.? He's like red hair,
Yeah.
freckles.
Yeah.
He's a designer at
Yeah,
He worked in
there was a lot of those guys. I would just walk through the office and just be like, whoa,
Yeah.
because I was still just like,
Our friend Ben Will was probably
The sales manager.
he
Head of
was
sales.
worked there for a long time.
Yeah.
Probably at the time that you were there.
yeah, a lot of those
Brett
guys.
Coates is probably still there.
Yeah.
Big Bird.
Yeah,
He was the Orange County sales rep.
a lot of those guys, like they were all really, really cool to me because I was telling my story and Frank was in the like waiting room, whatever, when I was sitting there, and he's like, "Wait, you're telling me like you're at a job interview right now and like all this just happened?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude, like I really need this job." He's like, "You're hired." So yeah, he hired me.
He's such a awesome, weird, like crazy guy.
He's an awesome dick.
Yeah.
He's an
definitely-
awesome hard ass.
Yeah, for sure.
But,
That's
like,
the best way to put it.
yeah,
He's an
he's-
awesome hard ass.
He's an,
sure.
like he's Frank.
Because we've known him, like, seriously, a long
Yeah.
time. And a lot of our friends have gone through there and worked there and
Yeah.
ride for him. Our other best friend, Mango, like, he was there for a long time, too.
Yeah.
And our friend,
Robbie.
you probably met Robbie Jeffers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like a lot of good people that were involved. It was so cool to me because I didn't even know what Stussy was. I was just like, I did it. Like,
You're like, these clothes are sick.
yeah, he was just like,
Yeah, because
Yeah, in your
Stussy's not
wardrobe?
Florida.
no,
It's not a Florida
It's not a Florida thing
No,
at
yeah.
all.
But it's one of the biggest, like,
huge.
streetwear
I didn't know
slash-
how huge it was. And then
Yeah.
working in this warehouse, like, I love my job at
Yeah.
Stussy. I miss it sometimes.
So you worked the warehouse?
Worked the warehouse.
Packing boxes.
Packing boxes.
Yeah.
Picking. Shopping cart.
Yeah.
Doing it all. And I had a friend, you know.
So
like,
were you getting into drugs?
no.
Never.
No, like
You're
I
just in the wrong places at the
smoking
wrong
weed.
times.
Yeah. I was always like a really good kid, dude. Even through high school, I'm really thankful. Like my parents, like they didn't have to be hard on me. They just like
You had high expectations, so you didn't screw up.
I had my dad was a really, really amazing dad, you know. He just like that's who I strive to be. Just a really good man. And so like, you know, like I went through normal kid process, but like never, I always like took the good lane, you know. And so when I moved to California, like all this stuff happening to me, it was like, you know,
because that's kind of the things that you associate.
for sure.
Oh, he started into drugs.
Oh,
He
so
started
and
getting in
everybody's
trouble.
like, yeah, but
Of course that happened. But
Yeah,
this was like,
definitely. Yeah.
it just shit happens to good people.
You just had a shitty friend.
yeah, exactly. And it's just like what happens when you try to move from
Did you get into
Florida
drugs? No, I
to
just had a shitty friend.
I had to kick him out of my house. And I just got married. I'm like, dude, you gotta go. When I get back from my honeymoon,
Wait,
you
I
gotta get
can't
out of the
leave.
house.
Yeah. You gotta roll at some point, dude. Like,
Well, what did
Dude,
you
show
know?
goes on.
You've only been with her for 4 years.
What do you mean? I gotta leave?
yeah. I thought I'd least, dude. Yeah, so
But that job worked out, and
yeah, for sure. And so like I was couch surfing for a while, and then
Well, did you have wetsuits and boards like that?
I slowly acquired stuff. I had friends that hooked me up with stuff.
Is that shit got
Matty
stolen?
P hooked me up with some suits.
Nice.
I rocked some really sick Quicksilver suits, real bright suits at one point. Yeah, like as I met friends, and that was the cool thing for me. I started making like all these real friends. To me, they're still like some of the best friends that I have are in Huntington. But I moved here and I started making all these friends, and you know, like they helped me out. They kept me in the water, got me back out in the water. I only got to surf on weekends because I'm sun up and sun down. It's Stussy. But yeah, I slowly acquired stuff, but it wasn't. I was just grinding to get by at that point. Still, it was like I was making $9 an hour at the warehouse, and I still didn't have a place to live, no credit. I was 18.
No car.
No car. My car was in Florida, so I was sleeping on a friend's couch, and his dad's girlfriend came in one day. Shout out to Wendy, she's awesome. She's from Huntington. But talking my ear off, and she's like, "Yeah, I got a room for rent if you know anybody." Blah blah blah. Like my daughter's moving out, she's going to college, and I was like, "Yes, please." And I told her my whole story, and she like hooked me up, like dialed me in. And so I lived in downtown Huntington Beach in a really sick house on Elmira. It's really like, I should not have gotten this lucky. But yeah, like I had like the coolest house. So like
close to the
US
beach.
Open. Oh yeah.
Mellow neighborhood.
Yeah. Oh,
You're
and
close
like,
to downtown, but
plenty
you're not
of
down.
space,
Yeah.
right? So like I've been couch surfing all this time, and now I'm meeting all these people and surfing, and the US Open comes, whatever, and now I'm like letting people stay on my couch, whatever. And, so yeah, like I lived in Huntington, had like a sick little
How long were you
setup
couch surfing
there.
for?
Oh man, this I was couch surfing for probably like 4 months.
Damn.
Yeah, like working at Stussy for like 4 months, couch surfing 3 or 4 months. Because I remember all the boys were in Hawaii. They went to Hawaii in like February, and that was like. It's like when they came back, it was like, oh man, I didn't have any more places to stay. Like I was staying in people's rooms and all this stuff, and it was like I gotta figure something out. So yeah, got the spot in Huntington and lived here in Huntington, and had got to surf a lot, but still like just trying to like get by. And then got a call, my dad was sick, had to move back home to Florida. It was nice. It was like a nice little run out here.
Yeah.
Had to get back.
How many months did you end up staying in California?
Oh, it was like a year.
Oh,
some
wow.
Change, yeah, like a year.
So you got
So
to.
then I came back, like after I bounced back and forth and stayed with people for long periods of time, and but yeah, like I got like a good year and some change out here, just like fully submersed in it
You
all.
stuck it out.
Learned a lot of stuff.
That's
yeah.
a good stint to like, you
Yeah,
know,
if it
acclimate
were-
and like kind of, like you said, develop some good relationships
Yeah.
with people.
And that
How
was
many kids at that age would have said, "Fuck it, I'm going back home"?
no, dude.
Yeah.
Right?
It was so gnarly. Like,
Door shuts. Like, oh, we go
After
home.
getting beat up at a party,
Yeah.
and then going to Stussy with black eyes to try to get a job, and then get the job.
to me, it was like sick. Like the more things happened, I was like, this is cool, dude, because this is just adds to the story at this. You know, this adds like now I'm telling the story, but like
Yeah.
it was so amazing that I had to go through all that because I learned a lot. You know, I was out here for a year, whatever, but then I went back home and I was able.
So your dad,
My dad had cancer and he was sick. He ended up passing away, and then like when he was really sick, that's when I left. Like, because I was staying with my parents for a long time. When he was sick, then I couldn't stay there like towards the later end. So I moved back to Jacksonville in 2016, and I got a job at Surfer the Bar. I started bartending. Started making a bunch of money, and started riding for Rip Curl because they had a Rip Curl store right next to the bar. And my dad passed away. That was, super gnarliest thing. It took me a long time, but I was making good money at the bar, and it opened up a new opportunity for me, like with surfing. Because when I came to California, I was like, oh, just make it happen. Figure, like somebody will sponsor me, like,
That never happened.
like just waiting for it to come along. And then I got back to Jacksonville, and I was like, dude, screw that. I'm gonna make my own money, more than any company is gonna be willing to pay me. I'm gonna buy my own boards, go on my own trips, pay for my own QS contests. I'm just gonna do it all on my own off of straight work. And so I did that, just grinding, and then like the ultimate surfer thing one day was just.
So you're working at Surfer's Bar.
Yeah.
Making good money. You get picked up by Rip Curl. Were they using you in any advertising?
I was-
just stickers
I
and
was
free
a
product.
nobody, dude. I was free advertisement.
Yeah.
I was free advertisement. And Matt Myers did, like, this was towards the end of when he was there. He helped me out a lot.
so you
he
dealt
wanted
with Matt Myers.
Matt, yeah.
Okay.
Matt, he was always been on my side. I love Matt.
Yeah.
Because he was the first person to ever show me love. When I rode for Maui Nix, Brian Broom, who was like a big guy on the East Coast, set me up with Matt. The first time when I came out here for BQS Champs for the vocal contest. And Matt always showed me love. He was like, like, I can't sponsor you, but like this is what you can do, and we could talk next year. Like, he was always supportive. Like, wasn't just didn't blow me off. He like wanted to see it happen. So when it all came back, it was cool. But I was riding through the shop. Like, I wasn't dealing with anybody out here. Like, they didn't care about what I had going on until the Ultimate Surfer.
How did your name come up, or how did they pick the cast?
So I got a phone call one day from the owner of the bar. He said he got a phone call from like
Producer or
a producer, like some sort of casting company. They wanted to do a reality show about the bar.
Oh,
Surfer's
Yeah.
Bar.
Yeah, because they saw my girlfriend and me at the time, like on social media, and they thought there was all this drama and these hookups and all this stuff, and they wanted to do this reality show. And he was like over it.
What station? Like MTV?
I have no idea. No, he was just like, yo, talk to these people. We're not doing the show on the bar, but they're the same casting company for the Ultimate Surfer. I had no idea what that was. I Googled it, and I'm like, what, dude? Are you kidding me? Like, there's no way. Like, I'm like, this is a pre-picked thing. There's no way they're picking someone like me. There's no way it's like a tryout, whatever. This is a show. And so I do an interview, like, with
Wait,
this
so this is right after
right
COVID?
before COVID.
Right before COVID.
I was still, dude, I was making the most money I've ever made at the bar. Like, just killing it.
And that's the beauty of bartending. You can make so much cash if you're at the right spot, at the right bar.
Oh, yeah.
You can come home with like $500-600.
It was, yeah, we
A night,
made
right?
way too much money, and I walked away from that place place with nothing.
So what was the
besides
cast?
sobriety?
Yeah. But yeah, that's the thing about the service industry,
Yeah.
the restaurant, bar industry. It's like you get sucked into that vortex.
Oh yeah, I was sucked
Unless
in
you're
heavy,
really
dude.
fucking disciplined.
I was sucked in heavy because I'm the type of person, I'm like, you know, if I'm surfing, I'm putting everything into surfing. If I was bartending, I was putting everything. Like, I was the best bartender, you know? Like, yeah, I was the one everybody wanted to come to. Like, I'm the most fun, whatever it was. But, yeah, so I put everything into it and definitely got sucked deep into it. But, yeah, I got a call from this casting company, and this lady just...
Zoom or interview?
It was a phone call.
Just a
at
phone
first,
call.
Phone call at first, and I don't know like what even got it into it, like what got into me, but I just told this lady my whole life story. I just told her my whole life story on the phone, and yeah, I'm just like, you know, I just really
Now,
love.
is your dad already passed?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And it,
So you were in that.
I was
Maybe that
still
was like
trying
your
to
inspiration.
figure, yeah, like it always, and still to this day, like my dad sacrificed everything. Like my dad grew up on a farm. He was one of 14 on a farm, a dairy farm in upstate New York. So he was a farm boy. He didn't have a childhood. He didn't do stuff for fun. He worked every day, and then he got drafted into the military when he was 18, and he went and served the country, and then he got out and started working and had family. Didn't, you know, like he didn't have fun. So when I served, it was the best thing ever for him because he never got to do any of that. So for him, you know, like he sacrificed everything so I could serve. So yeah, when he passed away, it was like that signed it right there. It's like surfing is everything to me. It always has been. I want to put everything into it. So yeah, I had this phone call with this casting company, and they're like, "Whoa! We don't want to do this show anymore. We want you for the Ultimate Surfer." And so did another interview with this like macho guy from freaking Hollywood. Yeah, bro, I used to live in Hawaii, dude. Like this, you're gonna surf the wave pool more than anybody else ever has. Like this is gonna be the craziest thing ever. You guys are gonna be rich and famous, and just doing what Hollywood does, like selling. Yeah, and I'm like, he had me at wave pool. When they
Can I ask you a
Yeah.
bit? So the owner of the bar told the lady to call you.
Yeah.
You talked to the lady. How long was it until this guy?
hours.
Just a couple hours. Okay. So, like, were you excited? Like,
Oh, I wasn't even know.
Like,
what to
oh,
think.
shit,
Like to me, it still wasn't realistic.
Yeah.
To me, I'm like,
There's no way to pick.
out of everybody in the world that's trying out for this thing, right?
Yeah.
And all the surfers, like, they're gonna pick me, you know? So yeah, like, went through months, like 6 months worth of casting processes, and like flew out to California and stayed in a hotel, and got blood drawn, psychological testing, and all this crazy stuff. They know ABC knew every single little thing about our lives before we even got picked for the show. And it was like this gnarly, drawn out thing.
so, okay, this is before COVID that you had this conversation,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And how long after did they contact you after the bro dude called you?
Oh man, we were on the phone and doing different stuff like for a long period of time. And then we came to California. This is like months after. Came to California, stayed in a hotel. Like we had to act like we didn't know each other. There's all these big pro surfers in the lobby of a hotel, and they're all, you know, like been around each other their whole lives, and we had to be all secretive. And there were spies in the hotel watching us. If we talked to each other, we wouldn't get picked. It was like this whole weird, drawn out thing.
People that we would know
Yeah.
trying out for the show.
Oh, everyone, dude. Everyone. And everyone who complained about it, made fun of it after, tried for it.
Yeah.
That's the funniest thing. It's like the people
Everybody
who were,
didn't get
the
picked. was
people
talking
that
shit.
were the maddest about it and not getting picked, you know, like they were there, dude.
I can see that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
So like pre-COVID, right?
yeah.
And then COVID happened.
So, still going through the casting process. It was super secretive, you know, like.
And like every time that they interviewed you, you obviously get more excited about it and want it more.
Yeah.
Want to be in it more.
Yeah.
It's like the carrot being dangled.
was there any money
talk?
No.
They're just like, we're gonna make you famous, kind of.
When
There might be
we-
some money, but you're
Yeah, they were just promising us everything. They were like, you're gonna be the biggest thing in surfing ever of all time. And
You're gonna
all
get
are.
commercials and
Yeah,
residuals
they were
and this
selling
and that.
it. They sold us all so hard on it. And, you know, we thought at the time, we were like, that's gonna be the biggest thing for surfing's ever seen. It's gonna be surfing on cable TV. So we're all thinking, you know, but I wasn't even thinking this far, right? Casting process, I'm not thinking about being famous. No, none of it.
You just want to surf the wave pool.
Straight up. I've
When he
never
said-
had another chance.
Hook, line, sinker, you're gonna
Wait,
surf the
wait,
more than
I'm
anybody.
telling you, when that guy told me you're gonna surf that pool more than anybody ever has, I was done right then. That's the only reason I wanted to go.
Because
I'm
you've
like,
seen it already.
Yeah.
They already had the Founders Cup and all that
dude,
shit.
it's gonna be the craziest thing ever. So yeah, I was sold on just being able to surf the pool. I didn't care about any of the other stuff. I didn't care about money, like whatever, dude.
Yeah.
Like, just let me surf the pool. You know, and like should have thought more about that going into it. Like, didn't really realize what I signed myself up. I knew what I was signing myself up for, like for
Drama.
sure. Like, not the drama. Like it wasn't the drama. There was no drama. It was like Hollywood is gnarly, dude.
Yeah.
Like, they're gnarly. Like that stuff is gnarly, and there is no like out of that entire like the production crew, like everybody, you know, there's like very few. It's just gnarly. It's a dark world. It's dark, very dark, and manipulative. And there's a reason why you don't go on reality shows.
Yeah. So when you came out here and you saw all the surfers, right? All the professional surfers, the
Yeah.
high image.
That were-
People I looked up to my entire life.
That were auditioning, but not auditioning because
Yeah.
you couldn't.
And you're thinking, oh fuck, how am I ever gonna get this part, right?
Yeah.
So, and you still want it, right?
Yeah.
So after that meeting, what was the next step?
So we go to California and you do all this stuff, right? And then you do this final interview with all the big wigs, all the executives, all these people from WSL, Jess Malley, Iyer, and Broden, but then your Lionsgate Media Group people in the back, like really gnarly people. And this interview, they test you. They want to see you crack, right? So they try to rip you apart. And everybody's interview was gnarly. People came out of their prime, not going to drop names, but they said really gnarly stuff to everybody, you know? They're calling people.
Who's saying this?
The producer.
You got a room full of, like, I don't even know who these people are.
Yeah.
To me, they're robots. Straight up. To me, they're not even humans because, like, the things that are coming out of their mouths is just, like, it's just Hollywood robotism. They're just bigwigs, like, these executives. You know, you can tell they're, like, billionaires. There's this guy that's real quiet the whole time, and then there's this guy right here that speaks for him. Yeah. Like, it's...
But, like, what, do you remember, like, what they asked you? And they tried to get you crack?
Yeah, so they said something about my dad. They were like, so you think you're just going to get on here because your dad died or whatever. They, like, said something, like, really smart to me about my dad. And then I just snapped back. Like, I don't remember what I said, but the whole room went quiet and they didn't ask me another question. And then they were like,
He's hired.
Yeah, they were like, you can go.
They want.
And I was like, damn, did I
They don't
just
want people that
snap?
are going to break easy. They
Yeah.
want people that are going to like be a little bit more confrontational and people that
For
are
sure.
going to
Yeah.
voice their opinion.
Dude,
Someone's
There's-
gonna
like,
have drama.
That's they don't want somebody that's like going to be submissive and just like, oh, you're mean and go
Yeah.
rip her. They want
Yeah.
somebody that's going to be like, no, like screw you.
So
Sure.
you snapped back, and then they said you're
And
dismissed.
that was it. Yeah, and I left. And I'm like, man, dude, did I just blow it? Like I just kind
Now,
of.
when they-
like,
They were obviously paying for your room and travel and all that.
yeah. They flew us out there, and they put us in the hotel. And we had room service. We couldn't leave the hotel room.
Because
Couldn't leave the
this is
hotel.
COVID now, or no?
But still before COVID, right? This is right.
And they're that like,
right this close before COVID, right? So.
they were like super secretive even before.
Oh yeah, because it's like this.
well, it's not
stuff.
has nothing to do with COVID. Be secret.
No, I know,
Yeah.
but
It's
the
just
way
keeping
that
the show on the low. Like they didn't want
Yeah.
anybody hearing about this. So in the surf world, you hear something, it goes like that. You hear
Yeah.
something that goes all over.
Too much
the place.
investment already to like.
because I'm trying to think, did we know about Ultimate Surfer before it came out? I
There
feel-
was
I
like
feel
some.
we
There was like hinted at very slightly, like here and there.
Yeah.
You know.
pretty close to probably when it was already done
Filming and all that.
Yeah, it's when they
They-
started, kind of rolling stuff out. But yeah, so I went back home after all that, and it was like I was just waiting for the call, right? And I was at a contest in Cocoa, staying at the Rip Curl House, and
In Florida?
and yeah, in Cocoa Beach, yeah. And I got the phone call from an LA number, and I knew automatically like this is the call if I'm on or not. And I ran out of the house, and they told me I got it. I started jumping up and down the street, going crazy. I would come back in the house, and Matt Myers was like, dude, what's wrong? What's going on?
So
Like,
Matt Myers was there.
yeah, they're all there at this point. Like all that in Rip Curl. So yeah, I got the call and I was standing there, and they're like, dude, you didn't tell us whatever. And it's just like I couldn't tell anybody. So yeah.
But you told him that night.
Yeah. I was like, I can tell you guys now because I just, like,
On.
yeah.
And what was the like? Hey, we need you for X amount of months or weeks, or like what was the filming like?
It was 31 days, but we didn't know when we were going. So that weekend is when the world shut down.
Okay.
Like they
So
had
you get the call that it's on, you're on.
on, and
the
then
world
the
shuts
next
down.
day is literally when it's all over the news. Like the guys from Rip Curl were like, "Dude, we got to get back home. Like everything's getting gnarly." And so like the world shuts down, whatever, and then like it was just like a big battle when we were gonna fly out there, like when they were gonna let us, when it was gonna be the perfect time. They had to get all this stuff ready, and
So I wanted it warm more towards summer anyway.
yeah. Initially, it was going to be in like spring. We were going to be in wetsuits, and I ordered all these wetsuits and took all of our sizes. And we can't have logos on your board. They had to be a specific size. No sponsors. I didn't have any sponsors anyway. Everything, like they give you this list of stuff, like everything, and then they start calling you like every day or every couple days, like, hey, can you fly out tomorrow? Pack all your bags. And they call you back, oh, you're not going for 2 weeks. And then they call you again, oh, can you fly out tomorrow? And pack all your bags and tell everybody you're leaving for 31 days. Can't tell you where, can't tell you why.
Well, it sucks because the bar shut down, right? Oh no, Florida didn't really shut down.
Not really. I was still kind of making money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God love Florida,
we kind of
man.
rolled right through it. It was pretty nice, but.
So did you review the contract? Did you just sign?
Yeah,
it?
I read it.
Did somebody? Did you? Like, did
No,
you
I didn't have
inform
a
the
board.
agent?
And no, dude,
No.
there ain't me agent. Like I was like from Florida, dude. Like like all that stuff. I didn't like all these other pro servers. They had agents going over stuff, trying to negotiate the contract. It was unnegotiable. You were getting this amount of money. You're not allowed to do this. You're not allowed to do this. Just there's no negotiating contracts with them.
What was how much were you getting paid?
I think we got $3,200 for 31 days, so I would have made more money bartending.
Wow.
Wait,
Yeah.
3,200?
Yeah,
Like
maybe
all the expenses
3,500.
paid every day, like.
So we get out there, right, and
Wait, 3,500 for
31 days. Yeah.
Not 35 grand, not 350
No,
grand.
$2,500.
$3,500 for maybe. Yeah.
But you're gonna surf the wave pool.
Oh yeah, it doesn't matter because you're gonna be making millions from all
Yeah.
the sponsors afterwards because you're gonna be what people think of as surfing. They had it sold to all of us, dude. And I'm like, I've never had an opportunity so big. Like I never had anything close to this. So for me, this is like the big.
We all would.
I think I don't. Yeah, I would have said like unless you're socially awkward or you just are
Especially
weird,
at
I
his
think
age.
somebody would have done it. Just there are probably people thinking, oh, it's all about money. You would have just done it just for the experience,
Yeah.
and how fun it would have been.
Yeah. absolutely.
Man, I wasn't even
And
thinking
wave.
about. Yeah, everybody else was on like this different stratosphere of what they were gonna come out of this thing with. And so yeah, I showed up. We had like a 5 a.m. call time leaving the hotel, right? So they had a compound at the surf ranch. Once you get in, you can't leave. Everybody's tested, double tested. This is right when COVID hit, so it's a
No
bar.
Tachi freaking rollouts, no
none of
gas.
that. None of that, dude.
And they were ultra militant.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Everything.
so gnarly. Yeah, they had alternates on standby. If you tested positive for COVID in the quarantine before the event started, you're just clipped. They have an alternate because they don't have enough time for you to get better, test positive, whatever. They got to keep the show rolling at this point. Yeah, so we were all tripping on that, and then
So how long did it take for them to finally fly you back out?
You get that call.
A few months.
Damn.
So it's like February, you get the call, shut down.
So like
May,
this was
June.
so March is when I got the call.
Yeah.
And then all of April, all of May, all of June was just playing, you know, back and forth with them. Cat and
Just
mouse.
on
It was
again,
just
off again.
The most stupid thing ever, yeah. And then it was July. We finally got the confirmation we were going out in July. So we were out there in the middle of the summer.
And you got that list of like who's all going to be there, or you still don't know?
No.
You don't know anything.
Well, we all were kind of. I had ideas after like, you know, being around the people and interviews and these different things that we were doing. I had my ideas of like who. Like I saw Eric Geiselman there. When I got picked, I knew that they didn't pick him.
Yeah.
They're not going to pick another guy from Florida. Like I kind of narrowed some things out, and I saw, you know, I was like kind of like looking out the windows and stuff as people were rolling up to the hotel. Like
Y'all can't look the same. You
yeah,
gotta have
you know,
different
like
backgrounds.
it wasn't too like some people it was like a surprise to see, you know, but it was
They had 3 guys from Hawaii,
yeah,
which is a trip.
yeah.
Yeah.
But dude, they knew who they wanted from the very beginning. They knew exactly who they wanted. Like, the amount of money and resources and technology and all the stuff that they go into picking the right cast for it, making sure everybody's personalities align but clash, and at the same time, like, what's going to create the best show, right?
Yeah.
So like they knew what it was going to do from like the inception of it. You know, like, how am I going to beat Zeke Lau at the wave pool? That guy's been there, you know, multiple times. He's gnarly. He was on tour. Like, I've never been there before. I haven't even caught a wave there. It was like pretty, you know, like it was pretty aligned. You know, there was some good competition. Everybody kind of had a shot, but it was like the thing was already rolled out before we got there.
Yeah.
You know, and when
They
we
knew
got
that
there.
outcome.
Yeah, when we got there, they were scrambling because they weren't ready for us. We didn't have electricity or running water. We were staying in these Airstream trailers in the back of the surf ranch. You know, like we didn't have any food for like the first 8 hours. We were begging for food. They were giving us boxes of Chips Ahoy crackers and potato chips, and you know, like the living conditions were not. They had us out there in the middle of the summer, so like the heat was really gnarly, and we're all super
No air conditioning.
dehydrated.
Yeah, trailer. There's a bunch of like.
Yeah,
Sure.
but the whole first day, we were just outside doing photo shoots and stuff, like next to the pool. We all 14 of us got out there at one time and caught like a sliver of the wave and had to kick out so the next person could go, and that was our warm-up wave. And then we went into competition the next day. So it was almost like, it was so like militant and brutal, like how they had it set up, and we didn't even know it. Like, and they were just kind of like, no, this is what you got because it's COVID. Like, we're eating like hospital meals, dude. Like, the food that they were serving us was so gnarly. I can't believe that people were even eating it. You know, it's like, and you have, yeah. So like you said, like the Airstream trailers. We're supposed to have like all these gangster trailers, whatever. When we got there, nothing was ready, so we didn't have AC or running water. So me and Kai Barger just like going to the bathroom on top of each other's bathroom. In the bathroom.
Yeah. So crazy.
Yeah, so like it was gnarly. They weren't ready, and it was just like also they had it set up that they wanted to see like the worst. They wanted to like make it like Survivor at the same time as it was Ultimate Surfer. We didn't even know it. We were just like, this is gnarly. Like, why is it like this?
Yeah.
You know, but it's just like
trying to create stress and
from the first day, we were standing out in the heat in the middle of the desert or more, 115 degrees all day, sitting next to this wave pool, reflecting, and you're getting roasted, and you can't go in the water, and you can't surf. You're there to surf. No, we're promised warm-up waves. We don't get warm-up waves. Like, we're promised you're gonna have plenty of waves to warm up before tomorrow's event. No warm-up waves. It was like,
And did they kind of lay out the schedule, like what's going to happen and how long?
not really. It was like just real, right? Whatever was in front of us. We didn't know what was going on. There was no guy. There was nothing. We sat in this, like, we did this photo shoot at this old car, and it took like 4 hours just setting all this stuff up to get this one little shot.
And they,
Were you talking with the other athletes?
Oh, we were tripping. We're all tripping.
Everybody's on the same page.
Everybody's tripping because we haven't eaten. We don't have food, water. We don't
Yeah.
have. We like famished at this point. We left the hotel at 5 a.m. and it's 3:30, and we don't have food yet. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Where's our like?
were they like militant about wearing the mask and shit?
Everybody had a mask on besides us. We didn't know who was who, what was what.
So you
was
got
going
tested,
on.
so you know.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Pause.
We're back.
So it didn't pan out to where they said it was going to be.
Oh, it was gnarly. Like, okay, off the rip, when we didn't get warm-up waves, we all knew that it was like, this is bad,
Yeah.
right? Because like, I have never been to the surf ranch, and I'm supposed to surf in this event. That this is like the biggest thing in my whole life. All of us,
Yeah.
we're all like super, and like you're talking about high-level athletes, right? Zeke Lau, Ko Smith, Kai's kind of cruisy like me,
Yeah.
but like these guys are serious about this stuff, and they're like real dialed in. Like, that was like the first baffling thing, is that we didn't get warm-up waves, and then they just threw us straight into the competition. And like the living conditions, super gnarly, brutal. You had like, when you had to go to the bathroom, you had to ask someone to go to the bathroom, and they walk you there, stand outside the bathroom, wait for you, and then walk you back. Same thing if you wanted water. Like, it was very clear from the first day that you do as we say, or there's going to be very bad consequences. Like, if you try to go against the grain with them, they're like very clear that they're going to sue you for $500,000. You know, like, and thank God, like the contract that I signed with them is way up, so like I can, like I say whatever I want, but like it was gnarly, dude. Like, I'm surprised no one has opened up about how like gnarly the living conditions were.
Yeah.
You know, like when you're on the show, when they're filming and stuff, like as people got eliminated, it probably got more catered to, but when I got eliminated that first day, they put me on the back of a golf cart. I had no idea where I was going. They packed up all my luggage, and I waited on the back of the golf cart till like midnight. Didn't know what was going on. Then they brought me to this like concentration camp looking thing. So it's a big gate, right? It says keep out. There's barbed wire around it, and there's a guard at the gate.
What?
Yeah, an armed guard at the gate. It says keep out. And there's these FEMA trailers there, right? So we roll up middle of the night, and they're like, here you go, like this is where you gotta make yourselves at home. We didn't have water or food, but they had a huge cake cooler of booze there, right? So we get in these FEMA trailers. They take your phone, your computer, your books from you, like all this stuff before you get in, right? You got nothing. You just got your clothes. It's like going into prison before you like go on to this show. They search through all your stuff, whatever. So we got nothing. Show up the first night. Me and Kayla got eliminated first, and like I'm certain that they weren't ready for people to get eliminated because we didn't have water. We went to bed, woke up the next morning. Like I finally slept in because I was like, it's so dark in these trailers. There's only red lights in the trailers. It's like being in like this weird prison. But woke up the next day, we didn't have food or water. We were like so rattled. There's, it's hot. There's flies everywhere. We have 2 chairs, and me and Kayla and like our handler were sitting under a chair for like 10 hours, just sitting there. Like we didn't have food, didn't have water. No one told us what was going on. We were like, what are we gonna be doing all day? Can we get some weights or something? Can we get like a TV? Like it was like gnarly within prison. I've never been to prison. I've never been in the military, but I assumed that it was like a mix of both and like a turd out of it. So yeah. Like,
So, okay, backtrack a little bit.
yeah.
Did you surf a wave? You surfed a wave? No?
Yeah, I got to surf it in the contest. So they gave us that like little sliver of, you know, we dropped in. I got the barrel section at the end, right? So I was like the very last one to go. So I got to pull the tube on my first wave actually, like pulling like the very last part of the left.
Did you come out of it?
No, but it was so sick. I was
Yeah.
like, I was psyched.
So you got one wave.
Yeah, and then they throw you into the competition, and it was combo turns, and I bogged. I'm like, don't even know what I'm riding out there, how the wave works, whatever.
What board did you bring?
I had some mayhem, so I got when I got the call that I got on the show, Riola was in Coco, staying at our house, and he was like, "You need boards, we got you," whatever. And I was already riding mayhems before that.
But you brought proper like pool boards. I
just ordered 2 drivers, and I said make it for the pool. And everybody else was getting boards for mayhem too, so mine just came out. One had an asymmetrical tail. You know, they gave them to me, and they're like, just give them back to us. You know, after the show, I still got to give them back. So but yeah, like they were plugs. Like they were so bad because it's like, you know, like. They didn't care about me. They got Luke Davis on there. They're gonna make him the blades. Yeah, they don't want me to be
Luke was
Luke.
on Ultimate Surfer too.
Yeah.
I forget that.
You know, so it's like I got some boards, but I didn't have like pool boards.
So
I
the
wasn't
first-
bad at all.
First day drama, no warm up. Next day competition, you were eliminated. Like
Eliminated that night. So like
Him and
I
the girl
do
was the
yeah, like all this
Kayla.
drama happened. All this stuff gets like all weird, you know, and like and like I get put up against Zeke, and it's just like we already know what's gonna happen there. Like I'm still getting waves out here, so I get to surf a couple waves at night, and I lose to Zeke, whatever, get eliminated. Wake up the next day, and we're just all rattled. And so like the first day, right? You do interviews until like 3 a.m. because they're talking to you about all this different types of stuff. When they interview you, like you don't leave that room until you say what they want you to say. Right? So some people will be in the interview room for 4 hours. Me, I was like, I'm just gonna whatever, just give them what they want, whatever it is, you know, like you want me to act mad, I'm gonna act mad. You want me whatever. But some people will be in the interview room for 4 hours, dude. Like it's brutal. And they make you say all these things. So like they give you a list of words, and you say these words like 5 times each. So she, but at different tones. They, I, my. You say all these words that clip stuff together, right?
Wow.
Yeah, like these interviews are brutal, and they like, you know, they just like they just make stuff up, and they're like, so we hear about this, and so we hear about, you know, this and that. And it's like, dude, what is like the most absurd thing ever? Like thing with me and Malia, it's like, it's so fried. It's just they want to see like. They try to like create something because we're all there focused on the competition and the pool. We aren't giving them the drama that they wanted.
Yeah.
We're there to compete.
And they're trying to.
We're all quiet and
You're all
like
trying to get away.
They're like wanting us to make out with each other and party. I'm like, dude, first of all, you guys won't even let us have beers. Me and Kai were trying to have beers the first day, and they were over it. Like 1 beer max. Like they didn't even want us to have beers. We were so over it. Like, dude, Kai is. He's one of my favorite surfers ever. My whole life I've admired him as a surfer and as a person. And for me, that was the best part about going on that show, was that I got to be roommates with Kai Barter. That's my favorite surfer, dude. Him and Clay Mars are my favorite surfers. And I got to hang out and cruise with Kai Barter. And like, yeah. So they try to get you to say, you know, like, it's very manipulative, right? Not as bad for the guys as it was for the girls. And I felt really bad for the girls because of the way that the producers, you know, like just create stuff. You know, you got people crying, really upset about stuff that's just not even like why.
Yeah.
You know, and
Just mind games.
yeah, mind games and like, yeah, just very manipulative. Like they just don't care about the human. You know, they have a job to do,
Yeah.
and it's like get this out of you. And they're at all costs, they're gonna do that.
Yeah.
Well, most of the other reality shows aren't pulling in like somebody's passion, you know, like surfing, you know.
Exactly.
So you got like you guys are just thinking surf.
All we care about is surfing.
Where-
Surfing and the carrot of if you won that thing, you were going to get a chance to go on the world tour.
for
Yeah.
sure.
And you're surfing the fucking pool. So, yeah, you're right. Like, other reality shows are premised on dumb shit.
Yeah, like
And
it's not
this
the
is
same.
like, these are like, our surfing is
And
our
they're not-
love.
Yeah.
And they're
Yeah.
trying to
It's our entire
create a
putting
story.
our heart and soul into
Yeah.
this. Like we don't care about this drama, this chick drama. Like we don't care about hooking up with each other, whatever. So they had that part backwards. Like they were trying to pull two different things together, and it didn't work. And
So,
like
did you get to meet Kelly, and was Kelly there?
very brief. So that was another highlight of the whole thing. It's like we had a party at the very end, and Slater came and sat right next to me and opened up my box of food. I finally had vegetables, asparagus,
Wow.
and I was like,
Because the food at
"Oh, it's
the
great. We
ranch
didn't have
is
that.
insane.
We didn't have that, dude.
It's like a gourmet.
We had some food truck that it was like hospital food, dude.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
They have like production,
Your
movie
middle
theater.
school lunch is better than the food we were eating. It was not.
So you
So
were
they got you back. They filmed for the month, and then they brought you back. Like, so you left.
No. So you stay on the property the whole 31 days.
Regardless.
Oh yeah.
So
You're
how many
there.
days was it that you got eliminated?
I was gone second day, brother. I was there. I was in like the whole thing of the TV show for let's see. We got into the surf ranch probably about like 8 o'clock. So I was probably there for maybe like a little over 24 hours, like in the zone of where they were filming, right? And so once you're eliminated, you got to stay in this zone, like this back part of the ranch, all ducked off, gated off. You can't talk to anybody. They don't let you communicate. Me and Kayla the first day, like I said, we were freaking out. And then Anastasia and Luke got eliminated. And then as we got more people, it was like, okay, this is not good. We got to do something about this. Like, we were supposed to have a therapist phone where, like, if we felt uncomfortable or anything was going wrong, we could call this therapist and, talk to this guy, work something out, whatever. That problem. Nobody knew who that was. Producers
Were they
didn't know
giving
who
you
that
food
was.
and like drinks and like?
So me and Kayla like kind of made a little scene, and finally they brought us like some food and like a big water, like one of those big water gallon things. And the first day was super gnarly, first 2 days, and then Anastasia and Luke got eliminated, and they weren't having it. Luke was like, I'm not gonna fucking run away, dude. Like, this is not
So
good.
you-
Like,
you
we
got
gotta get
eliminated,
out of
but
here.
you still had to stay there.
We had to stay there, and it was way gnarlier than being in the show
Yeah.
because it was like prison. Nobody cared about you, and nobody was telling you what's going on, and we were just like alone. And,
Did
like,
you get to surf ever again?
so as people started getting to Luke and Anastasia got eliminated, Luke found his way onto that phone. He made that phone call to the therapist because he wasn't having it. I'm like, whatever happens, happens. This is really gnarly, but I'm not gonna like start a revolution over it. But Luke was like, nah, dude, we're not doing this. So then they gave us one wave a day. Sometimes, some days we get one wave a day. As more people got eliminated, you get like a half wave or something like that. But I got to surf more after the event, but we'd get like maybe one wave a day, possibly.
Where could you hang out like with everybody? Or?
So we were no. They were all in their side of the ranch. We were on our side of the ranch. We couldn't see what was going on. They didn't want us to know what was going on.
So 25 days you were secluded.
Yes.
Or
Yeah.
sectioned off.
Yeah, and the whole time everybody was still on the show. They're hearing stories about how gnarly the Elimination Island is because it was like prison. Because they're hearing stories to the grapevine. Like some of the producers, some of the people that worked, on the show actually had hearts and souls, and they were like trying to do stuff for us, but like the powers that be weren't letting it happen. It was like they wanted it to be that way.
Be careful what you wish for. huh?
Yeah. And so like those 25 days were gnarly, dude. And here's the worst part, right? So they finally let us onto that little part of the ranch, like where everybody hangs out, whatever, and they would let us watch Elo surf.
Oh my
How cool
God.
is that? Elo, if you watch me paddle out, bro, go out there and fall on the first part of the right every wave, and you just watch the whole wave go through. They would make us sit there, all of us eliminated, and watch him blow waves and watch waves go unridden. We dude, that was the torture right there. That was like the cherry on top. It was like this weird Elo guy comes and he's like acting all weird with chicks and it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. He gave me a weird vibe. Sorry,
Yeah.
but this guy comes along and he's like, hey, dude, you know, like, well, I'm gonna get to surf, but you guys can't. So I'm gonna go surf for 3 hours, but you guys can't. So and then Felipe showed up, and that was sick because he would go surf for 3 hours, and we had something
To watch.
So you
And
couldn't
Felipe-
surf when those guys were out there.
No, absolutely not. No, absolutely not.
No poaching, no nothing.
No. Oh no. Waves are just going rid of it. Just wasted. But Felipe,
Talk about torture.
that was the torture of it.
That's so heavy.
Is that they were like,
I've sat there. We've
you're
sat
not
there
gonna
and watched
surf
it all
we,
day.
We know how bad you want to surf. You're just gonna have to sit here and watch it. Maybe you get a half wave tomorrow. Every day it was different. Like maybe you get a wave, maybe you get a half wave, maybe no waves. So yeah, that was like torture. But yeah, and you know, like that was the hardest part, was like having to stay there and go through all that. But as more people got eliminated, we had this like real special bond.
And you
know, 'cause
started
we were all
getting
going
more.
through it together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
we're
and-
isolated.
It made it funny, yeah. Like once you get Kai Barker out there, it's like, dude, we're all good. Like that guy's just so legendary to be around. Like, but yeah. Then we had this. The coolest part about it was like the rap party at the end. You know, like Slater was there. You know, got to hang out. And he was playing guitar, and you know, like we were all dancing, having fun. Like that was really surreal and cool for me.
Yeah.
Because
And
And
then
he
we
had no
talked
idea
about-
what went down
Yeah.
the previous
I
month.
had no idea, and I didn't.
He just
even
shows
know-
up. He's like, "Yeah, you guys had a killer
Yeah.
time, whatever." It's like,
Yeah.
"Shit, you've been here a month and got 3 waves."
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
you would have lost.
Oh, you were getting
Yeah.
food? Oh, you were getting water?
Oh,
Yeah, because when I
man.
open up my box, he goes, "What's up, Grom? You never had a vegetable before?" Or "What's up, Grom? You ever seen asparagus or had a vegetable before?" And I was like, "Dude, it's
If
been
you
a
only
month."
knew, bro.
Yeah, and he goes, and then we start talking. He's like, "Yeah, we're from Florida. We only know our vegetables fried, anyways." And then so we got into talking about Jason Modes and Jacksonville, and shout out Jason Modes. I love Jason. But yeah, so yeah, just
crazy experience.
I mean, just like so brutal with like how what like it wasn't just like gnarly like being on the show and all these cameras and all this pressure or whatever. It was like literally like they didn't care about us.
You were in a
They-
concentration
We were in a concentration camp, dude, and like it
Man.
was gnarly and like.
Fuck Hollywood.
We're gonna have to do that thing too, dude.
Yeah.
I know. Like, we're in the goods, but
Yeah.
I gotta run.
You gotta get to.
Yeah.
Why don't you go? I'm going to finish up a couple things.
Okay, that's fine.
Is that cool?
Yeah, no worries.
He doesn't want to miss out. He's like,
I know. I'll listen to it for sure. But,
But I just wanted, okay, we'll stop that part
yeah,
there,
Okay.
the wave pool part.
Yeah,
But let's, you're here, we want to promote algorithm.
for sure.
We want to promote what you're doing.
Yeah.
So what are you doing now? You got surf camp?
Yeah, so I started so after I got back from the TV show, it was like pretty gnarly year or so for me coming off of this Hollywood thing, and then it didn't pan out, and that was probably like the hardest period of my life, just trying to like get back to me.